Hey everybody, wishing you a happy new year, and I hope this new year brings you ever closer to your dreams and desires. And one of the ways to help actualize that is to have a plan. There's not too many businesses that have become successful without a plan. And likewise, if we want our lives to be successful, we should have a plan. And a lot of people do this at the beginning of each year with a New Year's resolution. Now, unfortunately, most people don't give a whole lot of thought to their New Year's resolution either before or after the new year. Most people don't even write it down. And so I'm suggesting that you consider doing a little exercise that'll help you take a good look at where you're coming from, where you've been, versus where you want to go to, so you can formulate a New Year's resolution that will actually help you achieve those things that help satisfy your needs, your wishes, and your desires. So what I'm suggesting that we do is we take a look at our past year, and we look at the good and the bad, and take an honest assessment as to where we're coming from, and take a look at the things that we've done well and the things where, well, we could have done a little bit better. So here's what I'm suggesting. Grab yourself 5 pieces of paper and a Sharpie marker or a pen. And on each of those pieces of paper, at the top, I'd like you to write down something that didn't work out so well for you this last year. Something that kind of messed up. Something you could have done better. Now, these things have to be something that you have some control over. For example, if you broke your leg, well, that might be just something that happens. But chances are you probably broke your leg because you weren't paying attention. And if you were a bit more careful, maybe you wouldn't have done that. Maybe you had a relationship that didn't go well and fell apart. And can you honestly say that that relationship was entirely the other person's fault? Of course it was. No. Chances are, if you had done some things differently, maybe the outcome would have been a little different. And so it's not saying that anybody's taking all the blame here, but if you had some impact in the situation and it didn't go the way you'd like, write it down. Maybe a meteor fell through the sky and crashed into your living room. Well, that's not your fault, so you couldn't write that down. But you could assess how you responded to the situation. Did you live for the rest of the year with a big hole in your roof and rain coming in the house? Or did you pick up the pieces and patch the hole and move on? And how did you feel about the way you took action in that situation? Those are the things that you could write down on the top of the sheet. So take a look at the last year, contemplate for a little bit, and think of the 5 greatest things that didn't really go the way you wanted them to go. Decisions that you made that in retrospect, well, maybe you should have done differently. Or problems that just blew up on you because you made some poor decisions prior to that. So try to sort out and think of the top 5 terrible things that happened to you because you did something or you set up a situation that happened in the last year. And put each one of those onto the top of a piece of paper. So you got 5 sheets of paper, and at the top of each of those sheets, you got something that didn't go so well during this last year. Now, we tend to be pretty sensitive to those criticisms and negative impacts, those gut punches, and we put a lot of emotional weight on those things. So if you're walking through work and somebody looks at your shoes and they criticize your sense of style, you'll probably be ruminating about that for the next 15 minutes. But on the other hand, if you're walking through and somebody notices your shoes and goes, "Hey, cool shoes, they match well. Good choice." Well, you'll probably just acknowledge that and say, "Yeah, I like them too, thanks," and forget all about it moments later. So we really put a lot of emotional weight on those negative impacts and not so much on the positive ones. And so for each of those 5 things that you've put down on a piece of paper, I want to get a little bit of emotional balance. So on each piece of paper, underneath those 5 topics, I want you to write 5 other things. But these are good things that happened. And the good things that happened don't have to be related to that negative thing at the top of the page. Just you got 1 negative thing on the top of the page and 5 positive events that happened underneath it. And do that for each of the 5 pages. And of course, all of these good things have to be different good things. So on the second page, you put 5 different positive things that happened in the last year. And try to figure out those biggest hitters, the best things that happened to you during the last year. And so think about this for a little bit, scratch all that down, and we're going to end up with 5 sheets of paper. And at the top of each of those sheets is a negative thing, and below that are 5 positive things. So we got 5 big negative events that happened and 25 positive events that happened in the last year. Okay, so now let's gather up these 5 pieces of paper and look over at those 5 negatives, the things that didn't go the way that you'd wish they had gone, the places where you wish you had approached the issue a little differently and had a better outcome. And sort them out and number them 1 through 5, with number 1 being probably the worst mistake, the worst choice you made in the year. With number 5 being, well, still not a great thing, but the least of the worst. And then let's do the same thing for your successes, your accomplishments, the good things that happened. And we've got a total of 25 of those. We've got 5 of them written on each of the 5 pieces of paper. So you have 25 items that are times when you had a success. Something went right, made a good decision, and had a good outcome. And go through that list and give it some thought and number them 1 through 25, with number 1 being the best thing that you did this last year, your greatest accomplishment, the thing you're most happy about. And so now you've got your negatives and your positives all sorted out, and you've probably given this a little bit of thought. It's probably helped refresh your memory as to the things that happened over the last year, the decisions that you've made. And now, having considered all of this information, now I'd like you to think about, in the context of all of this stuff that we've done in the last year, where you've come from, where do you want to go to? Think of 5 things that you'd like to improve on, that you'd like to explore, 5 things you'd like to do. And so grab another sheet of paper and just scratch down 5 things that are the direction you'd like to head in this next year. Contemplate that list of 5. Give them a good thought. And once again, sort them out in order. Which one's the most important to you? Which one is the thing that you'd really like to make sure you get done this year? And that becomes number 1. And then sort out the rest of them, 2, 3, 4, and 5, in the order of importance to you. Now finally, one more step. Grab yourself a fresh piece of paper, and on the lower half of that piece of paper, let's draw a big square box. Just a big square area down the bottom. And that's a parking lot. And in that parking lot, I want you to write down, of these 5 goals that you just made for the upcoming year, put down goal 4 and 5 into that box. We're going to put those off in the parking lot. We're not going to worry about them too much. But if we get to them, we get to them. That'd be a good thing. Now I want you to take goals 1, 2, and 3 and put them at the top of the piece of paper. Just write down 1, period. Put down the goal. 2, and then 3. And these goals should be short, concise, very clear, and written in first person. And I'd like you to take that piece of paper, stick it in your refrigerator, stick it in your bathroom mirror, put it somewhere you're going to see it every day. And so it's a reminder to you as your days move into this next year, what you're focusing on. I've always been a believer in this statement, plan your work your plan. And well, now you've got a plan for the next year. And you've got goals 1, 2, and 3. I think if you have more New Year's resolutions than 3 of them, it starts to get a little bit muddied and hard to really dedicate your focus to. But I would put my focus on that number 1. And as soon as possible, try to scratch the Sharpie through it because you've achieved it, and then you can move on to number 2. But remind yourself of these 3 goals on a daily basis, and you'll be able to actualize and achieve those goals. If you do this little exercise, I think it'll help you keep your goals forefront in your mind, and that will help you actually achieve those goals in the upcoming year and improve your life and enjoy the success that you desire. So I hope that was helpful. If you'd like to have a one-on-one chat about your particular situation, I'm open to that. Feel free to go to my website and book a session if you'd like. If you enjoy the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me know by giving me a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you like, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.